The Indiana Fever is America's team. The haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. It's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
Aya Wilson's carefully maintained, positive vibes-only image is facing scrutiny, exposing a double standard. For months, she presented herself as the composed, seasoned pro while her fans criticized Caitlin Clark over the Nike signature shoe debate. Then, during her highly anticipated shoe launch, Wilson casually revealed that she had been working on her own Nike deal for 2 years. All the while, her supporters had been calling out Nike for disrespecting her and dismissing Clark as an undeserving rookie. Wilson never addressed the controversy, choosing instead to focus on finalizing her deal. This revelation sparks important discussions about athlete branding, fairness, and transparency in the competitive world of sports.
Just trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself that I'm still doing great.
Let's rewind for a moment. When Nike announced Caitlin Clark would be getting a signature shoe, social media erupted. Fans were shocked that she was chosen before Aya Wilson, and the debate took on a life of its own. Wilson, however, stayed cool and mysterious, posting subtle tweets about respect while the conversation heated up. She never stepped in to clarify things, allowing the narrative to grow around her. All the while, she knew exactly what was being said. And then, remember when she finally spoke up?
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
Let's be honest, if the situation were flipped and Caitlin Clark had been quietly working on a shoe deal for 2 years while Aya Wilson faced unfair criticism, the backlash would be intense. The media would be flooded with think pieces, and analysts would pick her apart. But when Wilson stays silent, it's dismissed with a laugh and labeled as humility. Let's be real, this wasn't humility, it was strategy. She allowed Clark to take the heat while benefiting from a false sympathy narrative. The double standard is obvious, and it says a lot about the deeper complexities at play.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Let's talk numbers. 41 out of 44 games airing on national TV. That's not a quirk of the schedule. That's a deliberate broadcast coronation. The networks aren't guessing. They're cashing in on a movement.
The recent news that 41 out of the 44 Indiana Fever games will be nationally televised. I do not think a lot of people are understanding just how big that is. That is something that the WNBA players, WNBA media, WNBA fans have been begging for so many years.
The reality is, Aya Wilson could have shut down the entire controversy with just one tweet, something as simple as, "My time is coming, don't worry about me." That alone would have eased the outrage and stopped the backlash. But she chose to stay silent because it worked in her favor. By saying nothing, she allowed her fans and much of the WNBA media to frame Caitlin Clark as the villain, the rookie who didn't deserve the spotlight. Meanwhile, Wilson positioned herself as the overlooked underdog. This wasn't just silence, it was a calculated move. She let the narrative unfold while others took the heat.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. Hey, come in and watch the other girl, right?
Right? Bang!
Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that?
Bang!
Angel Reese attempted a three this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
You want some butter with that bread? Butter. Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
Now that the truth is out, those who were furious at Nike are scrambling to rewrite the story. But here's the real twist, the so-called disrespect never came from Nike. It came from Aya Wilson and her camp, who let a false narrative run wild without ever stepping in to correct it. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, who has brought millions of new fans to the league, has been under constant scrutiny, facing criticism from both fans and WNBA veterans. Yet through it all, she stayed locked in, letting her performance speak for itself. Amid all the drama, one thing is undeniable, Clark's resilience shines through.
broadcast this season? Ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out. All eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
41 of our 44 games are on national television, the most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history. I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese.
Meanwhile, Aya Wilson, who could have set the record straight at any time, chose to stay quiet. And that silence sent a clear message. It reassured her fans that their outrage was justified, allowing the false belief that she was being overlooked to spread unchecked. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the heat. This whole situation is frustrating, not just because of the shoe debate, but because of how Clark has been treated from the start. Instead of being welcomed as the generational talent she is, she's faced pushback and resentment. Not because of anything she's done wrong, but because she's elevated the league's visibility faster than anyone expected. Her impact is undeniable, yet instead of celebrating her success, many have worked to discredit it. Wilson had the opportunity to be a voice of fairness, to lead by example. Instead, she chose to prioritize perception over principle. And that decision shaped the entire conversation, casting a shadow over the recognition Clark rightfully deserves.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this, and instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide.
Let's not pretend that the timing of that Super Bowl ad was just a coincidence. Nike launched a major campaign celebrating female athletes, but somehow, they left out the most influential woman in basketball, Caitlin Clark. Her jersey sales broke records. Her games led TV ratings. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Yet, despite her undeniable impact, she was nowhere to be seen in the ad. It raises a serious question. Was she intentionally left out to keep her out of the spotlight just a little longer?
These networks are not thinking about hurting feelings. These networks are thinking about how much money can we bring in.
I believe there's actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional. Bang! People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful. Bang! 93% of her games on national TV. She's like that. Bang!
Nike really thought they could sneak that last-minute voiceover past everyone, but fans caught on instantly. This wasn't just a simple editing choice, it was deliberate. That awkwardly inserted voiceover sent a clear message: Nike benefits from the revenue Caitlin Clark generates, but they'd rather keep her out of the spotlight. Subtle? Not even a little.
With everyone trying to diminish the wave that was happening, the Clarkonomics that were happening, the Caitlin Clark effect that was happening, and realizing it is not only going to be good for this Indiana Fever team, it's going to be great for everyone. It's going to be great for every single player in the WNBA and also every single team in the WNBA.
How does that even make sense? We're talking about Caitlin Clark, the player who isn't just moving the needle, she is the needle. She's selling out arenas like an NBA star, driving record-breaking TV ratings, and redefining women's basketball in real time. And yet, the WNBA and its biggest names act like she's just another player. They're more than happy to benefit from the momentum she's created, but when it comes to actually acknowledging her impact, silence. At this point, it doesn't feel like an oversight, it feels intentional. Maybe even a little resentful.
The Liberty and Aces, they're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success.
There have been 6 teams that have changed venues when the Indiana Fever come to play. All of these arenas are selling out.
Let's be real, Caitlin Clark should be front and center in every WNBA campaign, endorsement deal, and highlight reel. But instead of fully celebrating her success, the league seems to tolerate her, almost like she's an outsider who showed up uninvited and took over. And it's not just the executives or marketing teams keeping their distance, it's top players too. Take Aya Wilson. She hasn't been openly negative, hasn't started a feud, and hasn't tweeted anything shady. But when her fanbase went after Clark following the Nike deal, questioning her worth and even her place in the league, Wilson said nothing. She had the chance to step in, to shut down the toxicity. Instead, she let it play out. That silence wasn't about staying neutral, it was a calculated choice. And it says a lot about the league's politics and the quiet resistance toward rising stars who disrupt the status quo.
Sigh, I miss the unrivaled already. They're mad. Caitlin Clark didn't play in that league. They want her out. They want you fans out of the league.
Angel Wilson's talking about sitting out for more money. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, hey, we're putting every game on TV for Caitlin Clark. Everybody wants to watch her.
This is the year that they want to do whatever they possibly can to show that they deserve more and also be profitable.
One of the worst WNBA fans and one of CC's biggest haters is already complaining. They don't like the game of basketball at all. They just want to support Reese. I've said the majority of her fans are not hoops fans.